Hello, rollers, and welcome back to the Roll Report, the podcast where we interview the coolest people in the TTRPG community and ask them very silly questions. I am your host, Hannah. I'm the producer of the Roll Report, and I'm here with my very special guest. Very special guest, would you like to introduce yourself, your name, your pronouns, and what you do?
Yeah, I am very special guest. No, I am Spencer. You can find me on TikTok under SpenceyDM. It's literally my name without the R. We place it with the Y and the DM. I post about D&D on TikTok. My pronouns are he, him, his, and I'm really excited to be here.
Yeah, welcome to the Roll Report. We're happy to have you.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah, Spency and I linked up on TikTok a few months ago. We are TikTok mutuals, and I think your content is very fun and cool. I know you started your DM journey very, very recently, but I think the question that we start pretty much every interview with is like, how did you get into D&D? What snagged you?
So I've always been a nerd. Like before, being a nerd was cool, right? Now it's everybody's a nerd about something. And my brother and I, we're big nerds like DC Comics, Marvel Comics. I'm a huge Lord of the Rings nerd. And we have a friend. He's now my DM for my in-person game. We do a lot of like Kickstarter board games, strategy games. Like Catan is like Catan is like great, but like that's for like newbies, right? That's kind of how we view it. And we were playing a game, and Mark, he was like, "Hey, you guys should try D&D." And my brother were like, "Whoa, D&D, that's for hardcore nerds. We're not there." So we tried it, and here we are, almost 4 years later.
Yeah,
campaign 3 with that group, and I'm DMing. So that's kind of what got me into it. When I started it. It was really like I had a light bulb moment of like, oh, little Spencer would have loved this if we had access to this, you know? So.
Yeah. What were your preconceived notions about it that like made you think of it as like a super nerd thing?
It was just, and it's so funny in the hindsight now because I had friends in college. Like I played for our college Quidditch team as well. Played Quidditch. Yeah, won a national championship, you know? And
hey, congratulations.
Yeah, thank
Not
you.
easily done.
and we had players who were like, "Hey, we can't be at practice tonight because we have D&D." And I'm sitting there like, "What do you mean you have D&D? We're playing Quidditch." Like what? And so it's kind of like, "Oh, that's extra nerd stuff." Like I'm playing Quidditch. That's extra nerd. I don't know that's just my mindset was like.
That's such a fascinating image to me that you're sitting there on like your broom to play Quidditch and you're like, hey, come on, there's nerd stuff. This is normal though.
It's so crazy because like, I mean, the majority of us who played, we were like ex-athletes in high school. So we're like, it was just like basketball players, football players. And it was a co-ed. So we were just, most of us didn't really read Harry Potter. They just recruited us at a party and like, yeah, sure, we're playing another sport. Cool. And so that's kind of how they painted it. So we're sitting there like, yeah, we're just on a PVC pipe, but like we're wearing shorts, have our headbands on. We just have 3 different hoops. Like, but it's still a sport.
Yeah.
Versus just playing D&D. I did not know anything about it. And so
the analog from like sport to Quidditch was almost easier than the analog from that to something like Dungeons and Dragons.
Exactly. That's beautifully said. Yeah.
So once you got into it, like what was it that like got you to stay?
I think it was because there's a lot going on up here. And it's just my ability to like be whimsical, the whimsy of it all, right? But just like colorful math rocks tell us what to do. But then you create this character, and especially because as most D&D players, we know that like D&D is heavily influenced by Lord of the Rings, right? And so I was like, I can play an elf? Oh yeah. You know what I mean? And like my first character who I still play, Lucian, like I wanted a Legolas like player, and my DM was like, do you want to play a ranger or do you want to play a rogue? I said, well, tell me a little bit more about those. And he's like, ranger, like you're basically Legolas, like whatever. I want to get in there. I want to stab things. He's like, oh, you want to play a rogue? And I'm an assassin rogue, and I love it. And I think as well, like he's like, give me your backstory. So I texted him like this huge long backstory that I had, and I just like went with it. And that's our campaign 3 is homebrew, but it's heavily centered around my backstory. And it's called the Requiem of the Sanguinaire. That's the name of our campaign. And so it's insane, but I think that's what got me hooked in it. It's like the story aspect and the role play. Like I played a lot of text to story games on my phone. Like I don't know if you know choice of games or hosted games where basically just no images. It's just your choices drive the story. That's what I played. It's like D&D is basically that. You just playing with the group.
That's fascinating. I'm very interested in like this first backstory that you came up with. Can you give us like the highlights of what
Gosh.
it was?
So like, yeah, it was in a sense now I homebrewed before I even knew what homebrewing was.
Right.
I was like, yeah, so Lucian is, he's a moon elf, high elf, but he's a moon elf, in that subsect. He's a crown prince. He comes from the city called Barenfell. It's basically called the City of Secrets. And he it's a city of assassins, basically, elvish assassins. They have like 4 ruling families. His house, House Ilaria, has been the ruling house since its inception. I homebrewed a weapon for for his dad. I didn't even know what homebrewing was. And basically, and I said, okay, like what caused Lucian to leave, right? Lucian doesn't like the responsibility of the crown, but he understands the weight that he carries. And so he would go out and disguise himself as a commoner and has his best friend Bolt, and who's a commoner. And they would go, and one time they're in the alleyway and they were just talking, and they were approached by some thugs, and they started fighting. But Lucian couldn't get to his friend Bolt before his back was turned, and an assassin killed him. And so Lucian basically he went on a killing spree trying to find his assassins, and it's called the Night of Blood in Barenfell, and he just left, and that's how he met the party. He left him in. He left him. He left the continent and he went to Faerun, and then they had a whole 2-year expanse there. He's coming back in our campaign. He's coming back. It's been about 2 years. They went through Faerun, the Underdark, all this stuff. Now he comes back to find that, like, okay, in your absence, there's a vacuum of power. Their father has been, nobody knows if he's alive or dead, the king. And basically there's a vacuum of power in the continent because Barenfell is one of the most powerful places on the continent. The vacuum of power. You don't know where your mother or your sister is, right? And this all. So after 2 years, Lucian's coming back. That's as a consequence of him leaving. So that's the high level of the backstory I created. Yeah.
So it sounds like you've explored this character through like not just one but like multiple campaigns. Is that right?
Yeah, it's the same party, same DM. We've all just carried through our characters, and now it's a homebrew setting. He created the map, and like he's been giving us lore about what each of our characters and all of us would know about each region that we're from.
That's very cool.
Yeah.
What was the appeal to you of like keeping these characters? Like, not I know it's kind of like people have different preferences about whether they want to continue like playing the same character over and over. What has been the appeal for you playing these characters over and over, and how have they changed from campaign to campaign?
Yeah, so I think Lucian. So the very first campaign that I think that went on for like a year and a half. Lucian did not reveal to the party that he was the prince. They just knew him as a snooty elf, but he wasn't purposely snooty. That's just how he was raised, right? And so for the first year and a half, we ended the whole campaign. They did not know who he truly was. They just thought, oh, this is some elf. And then during the second part of the second campaign in Underdark, I revealed to 2 people who I was. I'm like, hey, I'm gonna say a secret because it was a noble, and like we didn't have a leg up. And so I was like, okay, don't say anything. I'm gonna go talk to this guy. And that was like the DM and I, we had like role played that out, and they were like, what did you do? I said, I'm gonna tell you guys something. Here's what happened. And so I think I was like, the first campaign, I wanted to play him in the second campaign because I was like, they need to know who he is. And that kind of helped us in the role play to get through certain things, but also in the lore, the Barenfell assassins are known worldwide. Like it's kind of like think of like Black Panther and the Wakanda, like they have sleeper agents, and like Barenfell has sleeper agents, assassins in all countries. So like if they need to at a word, they can just dismantle something like that.
Very
So
interesting.
like so if they saw the crest, they're like, oh, we know exactly who you are. They don't know who Lucian is, but they know who you're a part of. And so it was kind of we played through that. Okay, look, why does everyone know who you are? And then he asked our DM, he asked us, like, do we want to keep continuing these players, these characters? And we all said yes, because there's just so much depth to our characters. And for Lucian, I was like, until he dies, I'm going to play. I'm going to continue playing him because I want to see where his story takes him. Right. And so right now I'm at level 11, and this next campaign we're going to level 20. So yeah.
Ooh.
So I built him from 1 all the way to 11, and we're going to 20. So I'm super excited.
Yeah, that's very exciting. And would assume that based on the fact that you've been playing the same character from campaign to campaign, you haven't played a level 20 campaign before.
No, I've played a level 21 shot, and let me tell you, those are well, not a one shot, it's turning to a 5 shot because it's just combat takes so long.
Yeah.
Yeah, but
Yeah.
I'm excited. I'm truly excited. Actually, we have our next session this upcoming Wednesday. So
That's so cool. I will definitely be in your DMs asking you about what's going on
yeah,
in your campaign
yeah,
now. I am curious though. I know that like just listening to you talk about it, I can tell you're a very passionate, very involved player. What is it that drew you to DMing?
yeah. Like I think when I was playing, I would always I didn't know. It's funny. I did not know who Critical Role was back when I first started, and then I was watching on Prime, like, oh, what's this Vox Machina thing? So
Oh,
I was like, oh my gosh, that is. I was like, that is my character. I was like, oh, I texted my friends like, oh my gosh, they're like, yeah, Critical Role, like they're like huge. I was like, oh, they're so cool. And so then I started watching it, and I started getting to the podcast, and then I finished campaign 3, and I went and I finished Vox Machina season 1 and 2. I think they're on season 3. I don't know. And I think I was always thinking about different things. Like, okay, like I would pause the podcast while I'm driving to work or doing anything. Pause it. Okay, like what would Lucian do in the situation? And then I would start creating a lore, like family dynamics. So, well, Lucian is a moon elf, but he has blue tinged skin. Why? Well, he has to have a mom. What is his mom's a drow from Minzo Baranton. Okay, cool. And okay, why is that? Like, how would she marry into the royalty of the Moon Elf City? They want to create diplomacy, diplomatic relations with another tribe of elves. So she's a high rank from the noble houses of Minzo Baranton. So yeah, so that's how Lucian gets his thing. Okay, like why does Lucian have magic? Oh, his mom's a powerful sorceress. Okay, that makes more sense. So then, like, then for level 11, I took 1 level of sorcerer because I was like, that's lore reason, but like also a lore reason why he has blue tinged skin. And I was just always thinking about different things, and I was like, Lucian should probably have a sister, but not a moon elf sister. There has to be something in there because then, like, there was something that happened in the campaign. My DM was like, hey, you see a vision where House Uther of Barenfell, they're trying to take over the throne. Oh, why would they do that? In my head, like, let's make it make sense. Lucian's sister's adopted. She's a tiefling. And there's not a problem, but the noble houses want to keep the power within the elves. Doesn't matter. Like, even his mom was a drow. She's an elf, but they didn't like that she wasn't a moon elf. But they allowed it because she's an elf. Right? Tiefling, so that's probably what and so I was always thinking about things like that. And then my DM, he was like, if you're always thinking about D&D and that, like when you're driving to work, going to the gym, whatever, that's probably a sign that you would make a great DM. And so then I started like just typing out a homebrew setting. Spent like a year and a half on it, and I asked my friends if they wanted to play, and here we are.
yeah.
We're here. So
Yeah, it's really interesting to hear you talk about this is actually very similar to how I also like put things together as a DM where you're
yeah.
sort of like almost using characters as like puzzle pieces and
Mm-hmm.
figuring out like how to make them connect in a way to your world. And
Mm-hmm.
I'm interested in like how you do that when it's a bigger group of people. Like when you're looking at the players and the characters that they're bringing, when does your sort of puzzle piecing start, and in what level of detail?
You're talking about for like me as a DM?
As a DM, yeah.
Oh man. So I have 5 players at my table. And they're all great because they did exactly what I wanted them to. Like I said, give me flavor. Like don't like give me flavor, give me in-depth backstories because we're creating this world together. And so, for example, one of my players, she's actually the player that was here earlier today. She's also in my home game. She actually introduced me into D&D as well. She's playing this barbarian, but she's a noble. And we homebrewed, she wanted to like be cursed a bit, so we had to homebrew some things for her. But her backstory is so intricate because it's almost like the curse is because her mother was unfaithful to her adopted father. And so in my world, the king and the queen of the gods, they view marriage as a huge thing. So there's a curse on her. And so she's like, and so when she came out of the womb, her adopted father, the Lord, automatically knew, but he was like, save face, we'll raise her as ours, but no one outside of the city that they rule knows about her. So and throughout the campaign, she's the party leader. Oh, I'm Kita from House Leosandrel. Everybody's like, House Leosandrel only has 2 boys. What do you mean? And like, she's an outsider. And even then, like, she's going back home. Her family views her as an outsider. Her older brother is jealous of her. Her younger brother is the only one that truly like loves her, views her as a sister. But it's just, so she's experiencing that. But then to answer your question, I have to think about all of that because the other players don't know that. They'll know all this, right? They don't know all this. So I have to set up different things where, okay, like, hey, you guys are noticing, okay, oh, she sounds pretentious. Oh, she's a noble, but she says she's a noble. Is she lying to the group? Like, how do people not know who she is? She's from this great house, right? And it's crazy because like her backstory is like, okay, she's really a demigod. She's a wild magic barbarian, and how she plays it is she's just always had things happen when she goes into her rage when she's fighting, and things happen. But her father is the god of magic, and so it's kind of like, and she doesn't know, like her character does not know that, and so it's a whole thing.
That's so juicy.
And that's just one. There's 4 other ones that are so juicy as well, right? And so I constantly have to I'm constantly thinking like, So I'll call her up like, hey, I want to get your thoughts on this for your character. This won't happen till later on in the campaign, but like,
yeah.
Were you planning on multi-classing? Because eventually you will meet your father. I need to know like what were you thinking? Because I don't want to take away your agency as well. And so we actually had that conversation this past weekend. And so yeah, I don't know if that answers your question, like because there's always different puzzle pieces. I'm like, it doesn't quite fit right now, especially for our next session. But there's a lot going on up here.
Yeah. Well, and I can tell from like your love of like Lord of the Rings and like how you talk about your character and also hers that you have a very like keen sense for story, like what feels good when. You mentioned Critical Role. Is there any like DMs that you have watched that you're like, oh man, I really like how they do?
Yeah. Have you heard of the actual play Natural Six?
I have not. Tell me more.
Yeah, so I think I love them. They're great. They're British. It's a British actual play. I think their first session, they just came out, I believe, either this time last year. And they're on, I just listened to episode 37, actually. But they're pretty big. Like, I don't know. And they're Harry McIntyre is the DM. I don't know if you've seen the show Last Kingdom on Netflix.
I have not.
Okay, so he was on part of that show. He's an actor, but then there's Ben Starr, who's one of the voices for one of the characters in Final Fantasy. Doug Cockle, who voiced oh my gosh, what is his name in The Witcher? Gosh, what's his name? The main character in The Witcher.
Oh, Geralt.
Thank you, Geralt.
Yeah.
He voiced Geralt in the movie and in the video games.
Yeah.
Like it's just a good cast, and it's great to show for people who've never played D&D, because I think Harry, he's played and he's DM'd, and then I think Holly, she's played before, but all the other 3 or 4, they've never played before. So it's truly, they're going, like Doug was literally asking, like, what do you mean roll for persuasion? Like in the show. So like see them now they're level 8 and they're like going through it. It's a beautiful thing. Harry McIntyre, his way he tells stories, but then also he gives agency. Like they'll ask, hey, can I do something? Sure. That's cool. That's great. Like that's metal. He'll say that's metal as hell. I was like, it's just things like very rich, but like it's things like that inspired me as a DM. Like Matt Mercer is great. Brennan Lee Mulligan, great. But Harry was great because I started listening to him as I was writing my homebrew campaign. And so I got a lot of things from his campaign and their homebrew world as well. So Natural Six, if you haven't listened to it, it's great. It's very funny, very chaotic too. So it's very funny. But
That sounds awesome. What was it that you found like yourself drawing from? Was it story elements, or was it like the way that his style?
it's a mixture of both. Like the way he tells the story. There was this one episode, I think it was still in the single digits, where Doug Cockle's character Kelnis, he plays a Dragonborn druid, Circle of Wildfire, and he meets the ghost of his parents. So he was raised by elves, right? And his parents were killed. And it was one of those, I don't normally cry, but at the end of the episode, you could hear all the players sniffling and crying. And it wasn't anything sad, it was just beautifully done. And I was just like, that's a sign that's I want to do that. I don't want to break my characters, but I want there's to be a levity to it that like they're crying, but they're like well done. And after I ended that, I was like, that was just well done. It's hard to put into words. It's just like the way he goes about storytelling, and then the way his players feed off of that storytelling is just chef's kiss.
Yeah. It very, very emotionally connected to like the core of the story, it sounds like. I think sometimes that might be like when we talk about like role play, I think sometimes like that's why people step back from it. I think sometimes people aren't ready to like interface with that part of it. What has been your experience in terms of like a lot of people who are around the table aren't necessarily thinking of like the DM as another player at that table. What do you have like the most fun doing as a DM? Like kind of building off that, like getting people like really connect with your story and like really getting them to be sitting there being like, oh, my heart hurts, but also, God, that was so good.
I think it was the first session we had, session 1. I didn't do the typical, oh, you guys meet in a tavern, tell me why you're there. No, I created 5 based on one of the one-on-ones I did with one of my characters, 4 separate scenes, and they were all chase scenes. And at the beginning, said roll a d4. Okay, join me in the Whisper channel. We use Roll20 as our virtual tabletop, so the music changed for each of them. We're on watch together so they can listen to the playlist. And they were in the Whisper channel. The rest of the players, all they saw were their rolls, what they rolled for. But everything else was, they did not know what was happening. And then, so it was just like a chase scene. Okay. And you just face to black, go back to general. Next person, roll a d4. And we just do the same. And so after the end of that session, I ended it because I was like, oh, they're gonna hate it. They're gonna hate it. They were like, oh my god, like and it was all like, oh my god, Spencer, that was great. That was awesome. Like, what's going on? Like, I felt like a lot of them, I said, you can die. I'm not going to try to kill you at level 1, but you can die. Like for example, one of the sessions, the scenes was he failed a perception check. So it's like, oh yeah, what you see is just a blue expanse. Looks like water. It's like, oh, okay. Well, then he's trying to escape from these guards. I'm just going to jump into the water. It's like the Hallelujah Mountains. So he's jumping in the air and he's thousands of feet up. And he's like, oh. And he was like, well, I'm going to cast a spell. And that in that country that I have, no one can cast a spell outside of the Empress's permission. So I'm like, you cast a spell like you've done hundreds of times, nothing happens. And so he has to figure out how to, while these Fae are hovering and flying after him, they're like shooting arrows, bolts at Eldritch Blast, and he's like trying to navigate, flying, running towards the forest ground, whatever. And that player was like, that was one of the best things I've ever experienced. And so, yeah, like I like doing that, but then also my players, they know in session 0, I told them, I said, this campaign, I'm going to challenge you, and there's going to be combat, but not just physical combat. Like you're going to have to think as well. There's going to be combat of the mind. And I said, but at the same time, I want you guys to challenge me as well. Like I'm not holding back. Like level 1 through 2, sure, right? I may fudge some rolls so like you guys don't take the max damage. But once you guys get your subclass and then we move to level 4, no holds barred, right? Because I also know that you guys are not holding back as well. And we shook hands on it. And so that's kind of what I do. Like all my encounters are either hard or deadly because I know that they can handle it. Because for example, one of my players, he's so big brained. He was charmed by a dryad, and the dryad said, kill him. And he was like, well, there's multiple hymns here. And he said, is that dragon wormling a hymn? I said, oh, well played. Well played. So those are my players, right? And so right. I was like, you're going to challenge me. So that's why I love when I'm prepping the sessions. I'm like, that's hard. Let's add another CR6 character and be saying it, and like let's do it. And I think that's why I love challenging them, because I know they challenge me in a way, but also we're all very good friends. So I know we have that trust. I'm not going to do anything to get you. Yeah, that was a long answer of saying what I like doing, but it's just like I like challenging them, creating these stories, drawing them in, and so.
What are like some of the ways they challenge you, and what are some of the challenges that you find fun versus challenges that you're like, oh man, now I have to sit here and really think for a while?
Yeah, so one of the, like for example, that character, his backstory is, I would say, is juicier than the previous character's backstory, right? And he's a min-maxer, but in the best way possible. He thinks about utilizing things in ways you don't think can be done. Like he's like, can I, if I put this together to make 4, yeah, I'm going to do that. And he just does it. And like, I think with him, I think out of all my players, I was like, he's going to challenge me the most because I just don't know what he's thinking. Mm-hmm. And I'm scared. I'm scared. And so that excites me because I'm like, it's truly like yes and at that point. Yes and. There hasn't been any, well, actually, no. I think all DMs can think of it. When you I give magic items. Like, yeah. I don't care. I give magic items, right? Like at level 2, they got magic items because the gods called them to their home. So like they met the entire pantheon and they all got magic items, right? Depending on the god that they decided to meet with. And they don't use them. And I'm like, come on, guys. Like, Like, come on. I think that's because I'm sitting here like, you guys could have evaded that. Just use your little magic item. This one great distraction. You guys could have been hit. But I'm like, you know what? I can't hold their hands. So I think that's whereas I'm like, I know as a player, I would use everything that the DM gives me. I'm like, oh, he gave me this. Sucks for you. I'm going to use it. But my players, now there is some that I've given that it's like a one-time use. And so like it has to be like we have to all be like
they're waiting for that one time.
So I'm not expecting them to use that, right? But there's others I'm like, you can use it, man.
Yeah. I think that might be one of the most difficult things about being a DM is working with people who think really differently than you do. It's one of the most exciting things about playing with people because I have friends who think completely differently from how I do. You mentioned the magic items, like you give this one person an item or any amount of rope and they're gone. Like I have a friend, Annalise. She has an immovable rod in one of the campaigns we play in. And she's used it in so many ways that I'm like, no, it can't be. But that's the way that you use it. We've been on a moving train and there's people fighting us in cars behind us. And she's like, cool, snap immovable rod, bam, 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 just like straight through every car behind us. She's like, I'll go get it later.
So good. That's so good.
Please. And you know, players are just going to do things in a way that you just do not expect. What is the most unexpected way for you recently that a player has like approached a problem where you thought through how you thought they were going to approach it and then they came at it in just a completely different direction?
So this almost happened and the group was like, no, this is not happening. So I got this from Natural Six as well. So, and they just got out of this part of the country of the elves called Drela, right? And this principality called Cialthalor, the area of the Wood Elves, right? And so they're finding this, they're trying to track this cult, and they're going to this city called Moss Shield. But past this one city, it's the area, the country or the principality is blighted. Basically, what the blighted happened, it centered in Moss Shield, this cult attacked and like just a dark shadow energy fire. It's like basically poisoned the entire forest and animals. And so the animals attack on sight. And so they did all this. One of my characters, when they met, I told them afterwards, 2 sessions later, like, you met the cult leader and you guys, they didn't do any insight checks. So they were just telling him all the information. So I was like, this is easy. Like I said, you see this, Dragonborns do not exist on this side of the continent, right? So you see this black Dragonborn, red eyes with the spear. You see all these different agents with red masks. And he's like, oh, welcome, friends. And they're like, oh, hi. In my head, I'm like, oh, okay. And so they're just telling him, he's like, where are you guys going? He was like, well, we're going this way. We're trying to find this cult. And so that happens, right? The main character, their leader, she wasn't there. So I was like, she was drunk. She's on a 3-day hangover. Cool. So they have to fight. The arcane trickster rogue, they're fighting this owlbear who's blighted. And so basically when he gets hit, so basically now from that session moving forward, when he gets blighted, every long rest, you roll a d4, you subtract that many hit points from your max HP. Right? And so at that point, after the next session, everybody's back, they're healed, whatever. Not really healed, but they do a long rest. He does that. They're like, okay, well, we can wait. We can still continue our mission. Another fight. Now 3 out of the 5 are blighted, right? And so they're rolling a d4 every time they long rest, and they still have to get through to the city. And they long rest, but before that, they long rest. Leo, that's his character's name. It's like, hey, I'm just gonna split. I'm just gonna go get to the city. I'll meet you at where we need to be. I was like, well, in my head, I was like, well, he's gonna have to roll a new character. If he tries to go alone because he has to go through the forest. And I was not expecting it. I was I was like, I'm not prepared for anybody to split the party. They get by themselves. Like, oh, what? I'm like, generate combat. And then the group was like, don't be stupid. Like, you're not going to make it out alive. Like, they role played it in character, but they're like, don't be stupid. Like, you're blighted. You know what I mean? Like, you take one more hit, you're done.
The characters got in there and were like, hey.
Yeah, then the next fight, almost the entire party's blighted. Now they're like, we're in this together. So that's the only thing that's really surprised me, because when he said, I'm just going to go, I said, oh. I said, open new tab. Like, what do I do?
I've been in really similar situations as a DM where every once in a while your players say something and you are sitting there going, oh, don't do that. Oh, that will ruin everything for me. You do that.
That would ruin so much for me. But so much for your character, the story you have for your character. Like,
I'm glad you were able to rely on your party in that moment to be like, whoa, let's walk it back.
They're like, wait, let's not get too hasty. All right. Yeah. And then lo and behold, the next fight they do, more than half of them are blighted. So like, they're like, okay, we all need to stick together now.
Yeah. There's no one here who can afford to go out without the rest.
Exactly. Yeah. And it's funny because post session, like, we do like a little action surge. It's just us talking. And they're like, were you railroading? I was like, I wasn't. Like, because it really depends on, like, the first time y'all fought, the owlbear just rolled really low against everybody else except for Leo. So he was on when it's blighted. This time, they rolled really well. Now you guys are blighted, right? Yeah. And so it really just depends. And I told them, too, it's like, half the time, I don't even know if these things are challenging for y'all, because y'all don't really say anything. And they were like, oh, they're challenging. Like, we were 1 or 2 hits away. I was like, oh, great for me. Cool. Yeah. Keep doing what I'm doing. Yeah.
I've heard you mention that you guys did a session 0. You guys, after a session, get together and kind of debrief about the session. How do you feel about that? What would I say the benefit of doing that, in your opinion?
Yeah. So session 0, it was just how, like, I played in campaigns. We just do a session 0. But then I took it a step further. From session 0 to when we actually had the first session, I blocked out a month. So I said, each of y'all are going to get I'm going to get a text from me. We're going to have like a little one-on-one in Discord. Tell me what you want from your character. I tell you what you would know about the land you're from and what's happening. And we just had an exchange like, hey, tell me about it. Tell me about your character. Right? Like, okay. Like, for example, Kita, noble house. Okay, cool. House colors, house words. You have an older brother, you have an older sister. What are your relationships to the gods? Like, what are your views on the Fae, the dwarves, the other tribes of elves? Like, and she was like, I didn't think about this. I'm like, yeah, we're building a world together, right? Like, help me help you with your character, so then I can understand, okay, like, based on this family, like, how would they perceive this? And I did it with all my characters, and I think it was well received because it makes the role play aspect of things a lot easier. But also for me as a DM, it lets me know when I go back to the note sheet that I created with them for their one-on-one. I'm like, oh, they already know this. But I'm like, I don't have to roll for a check. I'm like, hey, Kita, you don't need to roll for this. But everybody else, if they want to find out what she's going to know, roll a history check or roll something. And then we'll just go from there. And it just makes it easier on the DM. It's like, okay, we can take a lot of checks out because they just know at a base level what this is. And then the debrief, I've always just had a yap session afterwards. Like, what do we like about the campaign? Like, what are we excited about? Where's the story going? And my best friend, he's one of my characters, one of my players. And when he told me about his character, he said, I know how this is going to sound, but trust me, I can do this. I said, okay, what? He's like, I'm going to play a character that doesn't talk. He said, now hear me out. He can talk. He just chooses not to. And so I said, okay, walk me through your backstory. And he walked me through it. That makes sense. He's a human who was raised by elves because his parents, when they were merchants, they were traveling to the elves. They were attacked by bugbears. They were killed. And so he knows Elvish, he knows Common, but he just chooses not to speak. He has no Common sign language. He makes his own sign language.
Okay.
But he role plays that out so well. And I was like, okay, I normally would not do this give this to anybody, but I trust you. And it makes for the funniest moments for the story, for the campaign. And I think when we talk about it post, like in our, I guess, action surge, that's one of the main highlights everybody brings up. Like, Brady, that was just like what you did, like what you did with your like gang signs, basically gang signs, and like we have to roll for it. Give me a check to see if you understand what he's doing, trying to say. And so the benefit of that, I think, is for the post debrief. I think is for me, I get to understand like what they like and what they don't like about the story. But then I get to ask questions like, well, tell me, like, here's my reasoning behind this. Does that make sense? If not, tell me why. And then I'm like, okay, I'll change certain things. Because I'm like, if it's not fun for y'all, it's not going to be fun for me. And so then why are we here? And so I think that's the benefit of it. Like, it's just a safe space. What do we like? What do we not like? Keep the same. Cool. Same time next week.
Yeah.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to your mid-roll. It is I, your host, Colin, here to thank you once again for listening. It is so nice and so important, and it feels so good that you are here with us. And also to remind you that if you never want to hear me say that again, if you just are excited about the show, if you love what we're doing, you can support us on Patreon at patreon.com/therollreport, where also, for as little as a single $1 a month, you can submit questions for our interview guests. Only our friends and supporters on Patreon can submit questions, and only they will get to hear the answers. We've got some really incredible guests coming up as usual, and if you want to hear their answers to your questions, head on over to Patreon. Also, you can follow us on social media. We are at The Roll Report Cast on Instagram and TikTok, and now on Blue Sky. Ooh. Follow us there for announcements about upcoming guests once they have been booked, and then you will find out if you have interesting and amazing and unusual questions for all of them. But thank you so much for listening. That's really all. We are so grateful you're here with us and hope you are enjoying this episode. Back to the show.
That kind of you've expressed it a lot, but like that very like cooperative mindset, the idea that you're not going to have fun if your players aren't having fun is really different from like the more kind of competitive DM versus player mindset.
I hate that. Sorry, I hate that.
No, tell me more.
Because like, what are we doing here, folks? Like, what are we doing? Like this is a fantasy game. We let colorful math rocks tell us what to do. Why are we trying to go after? It's not a PvP. I have run like PvP one shots before with my friends, and like it's cool. Like I just let them know, hey, this is a PvP. Cool. But really, like D&D is all about storytelling, and DMs. I agree and disagree with Brennan Lee Mulligan about DMs are not storytellers. We are, but not in the sense that we direct the story. I view it as my job is I create the cover art. I'm like, think of a book. We have the binding and the epilogue and the prologue. Everything else, the chapters, all the words, that's what my players are supposed to do. Mm-hmm. And that's how we work together to create a nice novel called The Campaign. You know? And so if it's like me versus my players, then what are we doing? Like, is this a comic or is this a novel? What are we doing? You know?
Yeah.
Like, that's what we're doing. Yeah.
Yeah, it becomes a question of what's the purpose of that mindset, and how is that mindset creating a story?
Yeah.
Right.
Like it's just not fun. I don't. those gotcha moments are just not fun for me. Like, sure, there are times where I'm like, oh well, okay. Are you sure? Like, are you sure you want to do that? Okay, cool. Like, and I'm like, you mess around, you're gonna find out, right? And so, and like, obviously, it's not like there are certain moments where I'm like, oh man, I'm grateful that they didn't do that because I want this NPC to do this to them, right? Because I want to see what it does,
Yeah.
If it doesn't happen, it doesn't happen. It's okay. Like, well done,
Yeah, I think that's a really good point, that it's like your campaign is not, you like it when they challenge you, you fully intend to challenge them. It's certainly not without friction and conflict, but
Yeah.
that if you were constantly in this kind of place of animosity with your players, it would just not be, it would just not be the same experience, I don't think.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's I don't like that DM versus player mindset. I think it's one of there's a lot of toxic things within our D&D community, but I think that's like up there with like the top 5.
Yeah. Well, I fully intend to ask you more about what you think is toxic about the D&D community, but I'm curious, have you ever had like any kind of like breakdown of cooperation at your table, either as a player or as a DM? And what was that like for you? How did you resolve that issue?
I think you stitched one of my videos about this. Talk about character
Yeah.
building. Yeah. And it's so interesting because we're not at that stage, but I think it's coming up more in that campaign because, and I'm just a player in that one because it's such a powerful item. Like, it's the Wand of Orcus, such a powerful item, but it does more harm than good.
What does it do?
Oh, the Wand of Orcus.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness. I have my laptop up. I'm the Wand of Orcus. I'm just going to read it to you.
I would love that. I come from a lot of homebrew campaigns where we don't necessarily get a lot of magic items, so I'm very curious.
Yeah, so like literally, it's like Wand of Orcus. How do you handle players' use of Wand of Orcus? Like, that's a huge thing. So it's the primary weapon of the demon lord Orcus, right? It's a black obsidian iron rod topped with the skull of a human hero slain by Orcus. It's considered a major artifact. Its value is 1 million gold pieces.
Okay.
It's a sentient item. It's chaotic evil. So if wielded in melee, the wand functions as a +6 unholy chaotic heavy mace. The wielder of the Wand of Orcus could call upon each of the following powers once a day. Abyssal Might, Bodak Birth, Call Nightmare, Clutch of Orcus, Summon Monster 7, Rack, Wretched Blight. You can also do Finger of Death or Power Word Kill with it.
Oh my god!
It's so, but at the same time, like, it's one of those. It's sentient, so it has telepathic and verbal communication. Those common and abyssal. And the one that my DM uses, like, it's Orcus is the demon lord of the undead.
Okay.
Right. And so what's happening is, like, we're getting attacked by undead all the time. And that video, we're on the way to the continent that we're at now. And an undead kraken attacks us all. We are level 10. We're on a ship. We're not doing anything, right? Mm-hmm. Like, we're like, oh, fireball, lightning, nothing. But the tentacles are all going after that player who has it. And, like, as players, we're like, okay, can our characters realize, like, insight or do something to realize, like, they're all going after him because of the wand? The DM has said yes. And so, but that player is like, well, we don't know that. We're like, what do you mean we don't know that? He's told us. So it's kind of like, what do we mean? So there's been the whole thing. So this last session, it was just me and 2 other people because my brother, he plays in that campaign, and that character, they couldn't beat, right? And so we had this whole thing, And we're like, okay. Our DM was like, you can separate the wand, right? But I'm not going to allow you guys to take away his agency. We're like, hey, we're just going to have a conversation.
Right.
And character, we're going to have a conversation. So sorry. Hi, babe. My boyfriend just walked in. Like,
Hello.
We're going to have a conversation. We're not going to take away his agency, but it's very clear that like we all did the right checks, arcana, insight, all this stuff to say, okay, this is going to cause more harm than good.
Mm-hmm.
And so we just need to have a conversation. Like, why do you feel like you need this? He already has the Dawnbringer sword. He already has a legendary item. Like, why do you need two? So that's my first and the most present one right now. I'm just going through that. The character bleed that was just, it was the first time that ever happened. And during that session, we were all like, what's going to happen? Because
so I remember what you brought up is that you guys did take the wand away and chucked it into the ocean.
I don't know how we got it back. How did we get it back?
How did we get it back? But I also remember you saying that like not just the character, the player got really upset about it, and that it got a little intense around the table as a result.
Yeah, I mean, like, so let me paint the picture. We're at my DM's house. At this time, we have like his wife plays. Two of my players who are also in that game are playing. They're across from me. One player's here. I'm sitting here. He's sitting there. My brother is sitting on the two seats away. My brother and him are the ones getting into it. Now, I'm 6'3". The other character, he's 6'4". My brother's 6'6". We're big guys.
Yeah.
And they are yelling. The girls on the other side, like Mark's wife is probably like 5'6". Bree's 5'8". Jade is 5'4". And Mark is like 5'10" on a good day. And so it's very insane. Like, my brother's playing Goliath. He's like, okay, the party's saying, let's take the wand from him. He is grappled by the tentacle. He did a strength check, pulled it free, and he just chucked it on the upside of the boat. In the ocean, we're all thinking, yay, we're saved. Then that happens where like he gets upset and he starts calling my brother an idiot.
Mm-hmm.
And in my head, I was like, oh no, because I know my brother. And like, he's fine, but you start attacking him as a person.
Right.
I'm like, oh, you shouldn't have done that. You shouldn't have done that, right?
Yeah.
And it was just a whole thing. And I spoke to my brother the next day I went to his house, and he was saying the only reason like that I did not punch John was because I saw the DM's wife, Bridget, looking at me, and like she was like kind of like like this. He was like, "That's the only reason." and I was just like, "Hey, it's okay. I'll talk to John." Because John, we went to college together. So it's like, brother, like, what's going on? Like, it's a game. It's a game. It's a high stakes game, right? But at the same time, it's a game. Mm-hmm. Like, so it was very intense. It was very intense. That's to say the least.
How has the situation evolved since then?
Yeah, they apologized. Well, my brother apologized to the party, and then John apologized to the party and to my brother. And then, like, I mean, we really haven't gone into, I will say our characters have my character and then our druid, our druid character. We've said in game, like, hey, it seems that these things are happening because of that little artifact you have right there.
Mm-hmm.
And my character, he's an assassin, right? He's all about the mission. And he's like, we have a mission to do. If that wand in any way gets and impedes the mission, I have no qualms of ending it. He said, do with that what you will, right? I think that makes sense for what Lucian would say. because it's like the mission, and that is hindering us from the mission, right? But also we said like, hey, if other undead attack us, we'll just hold our actions. We'll just hold it because we're like end game, like you're fighting us for this, and we realize this has hindered us a lot. We've almost died from it. We will hold our actions and not interact in the fight, and you can deal with that what you will. And so that's kind of, we've explained that, and he said okay. And I think his whole mindset was, our DM has not explicitly said in story that this has happened. Like, this is why. I'm like, I get it, but let's use context clues. So, like, come on. Like, they're only an army of undead is only attacking you, and we're all in front of you, and they're only attacking you.
What could it be?
Wow, what could it be? So,
it's really interesting. It's also, now I have this context of, these are characters you guys have been playing for a long time.
Yeah.
And there are characters who have this long-standing relationship with each other, as do you. And it's very interesting to look at it. We were talking about character bleed, about this experience of you, the player, are having a reaction to something that's going on in game, and there's becoming this kind of indistinguishable emotional response, both in character and for the player. I think when you were describing it to me initially, it made a lot of sense to just like kind of back up, like pause the game. But it's very interesting to think about like how this is going to be moving forward. When it seems like his big issue is, well, we don't have proof that it's the super powerful magical item that I have.
Well, here's the thing: he picked it up. So we ended session 2. We fought a Demogorgon, right? Orcus' wand was there. He picked it up. He saw Orcus use it. He knows it's the wand of Orcus. But his whole thing is, we don't know that the undead are coming after it first.
Right.
So, what?
We haven't done a study on it. We can't prove that causation is not correlation. Spencer,
so what
come on.
This last session, our wizard, she's like, I'm going to take this. Like, we separated like his body, like he's sleeping. We separated the wand from him, and she just detect magic, all the spells on it. And she got a nat 20 on all of them. And he was, you immediately know what this is. You know it. And she said, I'm going to write a note explaining everything. And she literally said, why do y'all have that? Like, y'all need to get rid of that. Like, why are you guys not dead? She literally said, why are you guys not dead? Like, that's basically her character. That's what she said. So I'm like, perfect. Awesome. Wednesday can't come soon enough.
Oh, it'll be really interesting to see how that evolves.
Yeah. It's gonna be great.
Yeah.
It's gonna be great.
How does your DM interface with that? You've talked a little bit about your DM and how he kind of got you into DMing yourself. What do you take from his style, if anything? And like how is he resolving this particular issue?
Yeah. Mark, his number one rule is my number one rule. I put at session 0, but I also have a table rule doc. It's like 10 rules that we have, and it's number one. If it makes for a cool story, it's gonna happen. Like, I'm just gonna be like, hey, I want to try something. Tell me about it.
Yeah.
Okay. I'm more likely to say yes. Let's just make the checks. That's fine. You know what I mean? I'm like, honestly, it just happens. It just happens. Like, just rule of cool. I play by rule of cool. That's Mark's thing. What he texted the group the next day, and he basically said, I think we need to reevaluate what goes on at the table. Like, I understand there was a high stakes situation, but we should never resort to name calling. He said, I am the DM. Like, I hate to say this, but like, my word is law in the game. But, I understand some people may have different opinions on how I do things with the different checks. All in all, like, it should have never gotten to that point. Like, if it happens again, we'll have to reevaluate who sits at the table. That's basically how he did it. And we all agreed. We're like, say less. Well, the four of us that weren't involved in it, yeah, we all agreed. Like, yeah. And majority of us were all like, okay, like, it wasn't my brother's fault. I don't fault him because he was just doing what his character, he's like, oh, the character would do what the party's saying. Grab the wand. It's more so, again, that character, that player, they have this attachment to this wand. I don't know why. Like, get rid of the wand. And so, yeah, that's how we handled it. And I think he messaged each of us, and I basically said, like, here's what Lucian's going to do. Plain and simple. Lucian's gonna just be like, hey, you're taking away from the mission. If we find out that wand is going to deter us even more from me getting home, like, Lucian's gonna say, I have no problem. And Lucian has 2 soul swords, right? So he's like, I have no problem you like ending it, right? Like, that's basically what he's going to do. And I said, like, I think that's a perfect response to what Lucian would do. I'm not saying I'm trying to do PvP. I'm just saying that's what, if we find out, that's going to be Lucian's first initial reaction.
Yeah. Yeah, it's always, I think, a delicate balance solving problems like this, where it's like you're not just having a character problem, you're having a player problem. But it does sound like, this approach of being like, hey, here's what is and isn't acceptable behavior here. I think, how did that make you feel as a player from like a safety standpoint, a sanity standpoint?
Yeah, I think, and it's crazy because I know, like, one is my brother. One is a very good friend of mine from college. I went to his wedding, right? Like, and I was like, I know how they both react. My friend, he's our rules lawyer, but he's not the typical rules lawyer. He's just like, well, no. I was like, oh, that's fine. Okay, cool. That's usually how he is. But also when it comes to a game and games in general, like, he really gets really invested in it. So I'm like, that's a typical response for John. But I don't think that typical response should not have happened then.
Yeah.
And so for me, like, I think I had like that interesting relationship because I'm in the middle of both. Once my brother was my friend. But I appreciated Mark because Mark is also friends with my brother and I. We've known him for years. And I introduced John to Mark. And so I was just really grateful that Mark is like, hey, basically had like backbone, right? Yeah. Like, because a lot of DMs can possibly just get, in a sense, railroaded by players because, like, oh, we don't want to ruffle any feathers. Like, you're the DM, what you say goes, So it felt good, right? I felt good, but also I was like, okay, Mark has this. Mark can handle it,
Yeah. Well, we've been talking about playing and DMing for a while, but I'd love to talk to you a little bit about your TikTok. And I remember my pin, and we'll come back to it because I think there's, when we're talking about like the D&D community in general, this is definitely like part of how I engage with the D&D community online. Yeah. For somebody who'd never seen your TikTok channel before, how would you describe it to them?
Oh man, it's not the typical D&D TikTok channel. It's not. I think I provide a fresh perspective on certain things. Like, I'm using sounds that normally you would not put D&D with, right? Let's see, like, it's welcoming, it's engaging. You're gonna laugh. If you don't, then I don't know what's wrong with you. No, I'm kidding. But no, yeah, like, I think that, and anyone, even if you DM me, like, I'm gonna respond. Like, it may not happen because I may not see it, but like, I will respond on it. I think that's my TikTok. It's just one nerd who loves D&D and just wants to put his spin on it.
Yeah. What drew you to making content like there versus somewhere else?
Yeah. Do you know the the D&D creator, Sloan Running?
I don't.
Okay. Sloan, great guy. You should, yeah, he had a whole series about like he homebrewed magic items. And I found him on my, before I even posted on like D&D TikToks. And he invited me to, he just randomly invited me to a Discord. He's like, hey, I'm doing a D&D Discord group one shot. You want to play? I'm like, sure. And next thing you know, God, all these different creators. I'm blanking on their names. Like the Iron GM dad was on there. Like the Floki Wolf was on there. Like all these creators. I'm like, and Sloan mentioned the first thing he said is like, yeah, first, I saw Spencer's content. In my head, I was like, content. I just post for fun. I just post for fun. These guys have hundreds, thousands, 10,000s. Like, Brooke has had videos go viral, like millions of views. I'm like, I'm just a random guy here,
Right.
And that was the first time. Oh, they think I'm a content creator. And I started playing with Sloan, and I was just like, why not? Why not post about D&D? And so I really started posting seriously January. In January, and here we are. Like, I mean, I'm still like, I still don't know what's going on. Like, I'm here on the Roll Report, right?
Yeah.
I was on another podcast. Like, I've had people invite me to do, like, I'm cast in an actual play. Like, I've done things with So You Want to Be DM. Like, they asked me to do some short stuff with, and it's just, my friends are now like, what's going on? Like, what is happening in my life?
Yeah, I definitely, my sense and experience with the TikTok community on D&D, like dndtok, is a very big, very active, moves very fast.
Right.
What has your general experience been connecting to the D&D community in that way? It seems like you're mostly connected with friends who play in person. What has it been like being in more kind of the digital space?
It's been the word that comes to mind is beautiful. Like, because you get to bounce off ideas from people. You get to, and different perspectives on certain things. I didn't realize how lucky I am to have a long running in-person campaign that plays bi-weekly. Like, you know, some people, like the first time Sloan was saying, oh, let's play like once a month. I was like, once a month? what do y'all do? And they were like, that's usually what we have to do. I was like, oh, I just thought everybody's playing bi-weekly, or like, you know what I mean? Some people have never had the chance to play in person with an in-person group, you know? And just hearing those perspectives, but then also too, like saying that there are other Black TikTok creators, right? Or POC creators and how niche it is. And it's almost like when you see more, it gives other people the opportunity to venture into the space to explore more what else is out there in D&D. Like, there are Black nerds, POC nerds, Latino nerds, Asian nerds, right? But they don't see a lot of themselves in this space. And in a sense, like my friends have even said, like, Spencer, you're kind of like, I'm not the voice of it, but you're saying like, people see your things and you're like, oh, one time it was like immediate follow-up, another Black TTRPG creator. That was it. And I was just like, what is going on? And so there's a semblance of, oh, you have a voice, however small, because it's opening up pathways for other things. So that's the best way I can describe it. It's just beautiful. I haven't had a negative experience yet, knock on wood. I know it's probably going to happen. I mean, it's just life. But it's just been a welcoming community, and I just love it here. You know, I just love it.
I'm interested in talking a little bit more about that. I mean, you know, when people talk about representation, it's really hard to be something that you can't see. What kind of like barriers to entry do you think Black folks experience like when they're trying to get into something like D&D or like share like nerd stuff with their own community? What has your experience been with that?
I will say the first thing that comes to mind is a lot of us would probably say, like our families would probably say, oh, that's white people stuff. You know what I mean? And which I hate because it's like, what makes it that? You know, like just because you don't experience it doesn't mean it can't be for everyone. But also too, I think it just goes into the imagination side of it, right? Like you want to play an elf. Why can't the elf be black? You know what I mean? Like it's just there's all these limitations that I think psychologically, like if you're a Lord of the Rings fan, right? Most of the elves in the Peter Jackson series are white, right? But then Rings of Power got a lot of flack for having elves who are POCs. And people are like, why can't they? It's a fantasy setting. Why can't there be black or POC elves? It's like, well,
there are elves and dragons in it, right? Like,
yeah, elves don't exist. Like,
right.
You know? And the same thing, like if you're playing D&D fantasy game, you can make your character whatever you want. And I think that is just showcasing that avenue. I think that's why I try to do. That's why I say it's my channel's different, because I do a lot of POVs, do a lot of lip syncs to sounds that are sometimes like not my most viral one. That's a Shrek one. That's crazy. That's the Shrek one. But there's a one where like the Destiny's Child like cater to you, right? It's just like me talking, warming up my dice, right? And it's a very Destiny's Child is a very black thing that I married D&D with, and here we are, right? And it like got a lot of traction, and it's just kind of like that's why I try to do, like bring my own experiences, and also I love this game. Let me marry the two, and hopefully people can appreciate that, which I think people are.
Yeah. And I also think just like from your own comment section, I can tell that people are able to see you and then see themselves in a way that maybe they haven't been able to in the past.
Yeah.
Speaking of, is there anybody that like you follow on TikTok that you don't think is like getting their flowers, that you don't think?
Oh my goodness. So she's very new on TikTok. Oh god, what Krista Porter or Portis? I think she's very new. Like literally, I think her first video was like a couple months ago, and she said, "Hey, I'm Krista. I started playing D&D like in last November. Now I'm DMing," and she's just asking questions, and she's really engaging. Like she's just lovely. She is lovely. Oh god, what's her TikTok name? I will have to find it. But Krista is awesome. I also think Cancer Moon Cleric is great. I love her. Like, hello, my hero and heathens. I'm heroes and heathens. I'm like, oh, I am sat. My show is on. You know, like I just like I'm there. Yeah, like I think those two for sure. I just love it. And Ethan, the hot take DM, his hot takes are scorching, but like I like it because he's fairly new as well. And it's just like I love seeing the new creators. Like it's weird because I still view myself as new, but then they're in my DMs like, hey, how do you do this? I'm like, I don't know. I'm still figuring this thing out. You know, I don't know. But it's kind of, yeah, I think those three, Cancer Moon Cleric, Krista, and Ethan the Hot Take DM, I think they're great.
So you have people in your DMs asking you like advice. Is there advice that you would just generally give people if this was something that they wanted to do?
Yeah, like don't take yourself too seriously. Like it's you're literally just pressing record on a phone and then doing some editing. Like literally, I was filming some TikToks today, And I was like, I must look so stupid to my neighbors. Like, don't take yourself too seriously, right? But also, if you're making D&D TikTok, you're talking about a fantasy game that really, like, it really is theater of the mind. You just let your dice do the talking for you. You know, like, don't take yourself too seriously. Have fun with it. Like, it's not, if you're not having fun, it shows in your content. It really does. If you can't laugh at yourself, then I would say let's take a step back and reevaluate if you want to start posting on TikTok.
Yeah. Probably some decent advice if you're trying to DM also.
Oh, yeah. I mess up all the time. I'm like, oh, is that a rule? Oh, wow, that's crazy. Let's retcon that. Actually, you know what? It's not going to be a rule for this session. So, like,
it'll be a rule moving forward.
Yeah.
Well, you mentioned you are going to be a part of an actual play with So You Want a DM. Do you know anything about that project that you could share?
So, we're almost done. I think we actually do the finale on Tuesday. Yes. Do the finale. It's like a short series. I'm not going to speak for Justin. I'm sure they are going to tell us when we can talk about it a little bit more. But I will say we have the finale on Tuesday. We're filming that. So check it out. So You Want a DM. So You Want to be a DM. They're great. Justin's imagination is insane. Like, the ideas that they have. I have never met a person that can, like, I like this, and just create a lot of things from it. And that's what they did. And so this is fun. This is going to be funny. I'm playing. I can say what my character is. I'm playing an elf, great old one warlock, but my powers are all centered around dust.
Interesting.
I will say that.
Can you say anything about the story? Like, is there what's the genre? What's the?
Oh God. I don't, because that's the beauty of the story, right? Like I think once they release it, it'll all click. But I will say it's comedy. We're protecting a house. That's all I will say. Okay.
I'm very interested now.
Yeah, it's so chaotic, but it's so good. It's I don't think I've laughed as much as I do during these sessions. Like, they're just so fun.
Who else is playing with you?
Sloan running. Sloan is always down to clown. Like, Sloan, Blackwell, and Taylor. He's also part of So You Want to Be a DM, and then Justin. They are our DM.
Awesome.
Yeah.
So you've got these players. You're protecting a house. Where can people listen to it when it comes out?
I want to say it's on Twitch for sure. So You Want to Be a DM. I don't know if they put it out in podcast form. I will definitely have to check in with them on that.
And if we have it by the time this episode comes out, we'll put it in the show notes.
Oh, yeah, for sure. Yeah, for sure. I will be in contact with you guys on that. Then I'm also in an actual long-standing campaign, like actual play that we're filming session 2, actually in 2.5 hours. So
tell me more about that one. So this is a completely different actual play.
Completely different one. The cast announcement hasn't come out yet.
Okay.
So I'm not going to say the title of it, but I will explain. We're doing a different. It's D&D, but we're doing advanced 5e.
Oh,
like level up. That and
yes, we've interviewed some people who worked on level up.
It's very different. We're all going through the motions. Even our DM, like, oh, what do you mean by that? I'm like, oh, what do you mean by that? What do you mean? And we started at level 0. But my character, this character is going to be the one that really tests my role-playing abilities the most, because I was like, if it's gonna be a long-standing actual play, like I want to go on this a journey. So I'm playing the Storm Eladrin, who, and I'm not want to give too much, but I'm playing a Storm Eladrin who was banished from the dreaming. And basically the emperor, because like he's a noble, he's a second son of like I told my name, he's like his family in the dreaming or the Feywild is kind of like akin to a duke, right? And so like they're one tier under the royal family. He was banished to the mortal realm. His memories were taken, but his powers are still there. And Black, because his father did a last minute spell to protect his powers, so he can have like to know when his son dies, basically. So that's how he gets his patron. His father's his patron, but he doesn't know that his father's. But like his memories have been siphoned, where he believes he was adopted by this human noble family, and so like as of now, he's outlived his adopted parents. It's just generations of the Tyrion Valley family ruling the city. So he's like, yeah, my great nieces and nephews can rule the city. I'm going on an adventure to figure out why I have this power, right? Like what's going on. And he's also going this journey of like throughout, like he's slowly going to get his memories and reveal who he truly was. Because when he was in the Feywild, he was known as the Stormbringer. Like he was like a battle mage, but he doesn't remember that. And so, yeah.
Yeah. I love amnesia as a storytelling trope.
Yeah.
I have many amnesic characters myself. I think there's something so interesting about getting to go on a journey of self-discovery that's based on who you were in a past you don't remember.
Yeah.
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 How have you found advanced 5th edition? Just very briefly. Like we've interviewed some of the people who helped create it.
Yeah.
How is it different in brief from the 5th edition you're accustomed to?
There's certain skills, like there's an engineering skill and there's a culture skill that you're like, what is this? But then there's also like, I believe there's so much, if you get a heritage, you get a culture, and you get a background. And there's all like layer on top. And you also get like this call, or like a call to action or something like that, where you're striving towards that. And like in D&D 5e, Eladrin is another race, right? But like, no, you have elf, then my culture is Eladrin.
Interesting.
Right? And it's like, a lot of the spells are the same. A lot of you do like, okay, what you get as an elf in the Eladrin, pretty much the same. But there's certain mechanics that like I can see how it can make for a really good game. You just have to get it. You have to get it. Like your roll for stats the same. The character sheet's a little bit different, obviously, for different mechanics. But other than that, I'm really excited because one, I'm learning a new system, but at the same time, this is a role play heavy game, and I think Advanced 5e is perfect for that.
Yeah,
especially because you get this what is called like I think it's called expertise die, and on certain abilities. So say if I use Arcana, right? But it's like expertise die only if I use Arcana to decipher if that magic can be transmutable, right? And if you use your Arcana check for that, you get to use your expertise die.
Fascinating. It sounds like it adds like a lot of complexity, not just to like your background, but also to like how you interface with like a bunch of different skills.
Yeah, it does.
That's really interesting.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness.
As of right now, we're testing out. Well, they're out when we're recording. We're like, this is our first time playing Advanced 5e, guys. So bear with us with the first couple episodes. But
Well, it sounds like
Yeah.
once it comes out, if somebody did want to play Advanced 5e, I am definitely somebody who subscribes to the idea of like, man, actual plays are a great way to learn. Could be very interesting to listen and kind of get a crash course in what that looks like.
Yeah, it is, and well, it'll be a crash. All right, it'll be a crash course for sure. But if you want to learn how to play a warlock in Advanced 5e, don't watch me. Don't watch me. Like, don't watch me. Yeah.
I have confidence that you'll get it. We all get there eventually. We are definitely reaching the end of our time, but before we go, I have to ask you the most important question of the podcast, which is, Spencer, what is your favorite character class in D&D?
Oh, goodness. Warlock. I'm a warlock boy. But specifically, Fathomless Warlock.
Why?
It's just so fun. It's just so fun. Like, I mean, you get a Tentacle of the Deep that has no stats. It doesn't take any damage. You can't do any damage to it, but it does damage.
What?
Like a Fathomless Warlock, you get to summon a Tentacle of the Deep. It's just a spectral tentacle that you can, as a bonus action, when you summon it, it also does an attack, right? And it like basically does cold damage, like a D6 cold damage, right? D6 plus your spellcasting modifier, cold damage. But then it's a spectral thing, so it can't take any damage. And as a bonus action, you get to move it. And as you get higher level, it can also intercept damage for anybody within 10 feet of it. It's the greatest thing ever.
Yeah. I definitely see the combat utility. How do you feel about like the other aspects of Warlock, like role play? Like what kind of things do you enjoy about role playing that kind of relationship with a patron?
That's the like my favorite, my Fathomless Warlock. His name is Riptide. He's a Triton Fathomless Warlock, right? So I play him like a hippie stoner. He has like his little southern crooner voice, like, "Hello, my name is Riptide Luminor," that type thing, right? And how I play him is like Riptide is afraid of his power, right? When he uses his power, his skin is usually sea green. He goes like Vanta black, like, and his eyes kind of color the North Sea, and like his voice does like guttural. And he's afraid of losing control because the power of the sea, like the sea is this endless, fathomless power, right? And I play it as like his patron gave him his power because they want to use Riptide as a harbinger of like bringing the surface world down. But Riptide doesn't know this, but there's something he's afraid of. And so that's how I play warlocks. Like either they're afraid of the power or they know they have nothing to lose because they're eventually going to die because of their power.
Yeah. This idea that like there is something inside you that's very powerful that you can barely control.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah. What about you, Hannah? What's going on? What's your favorite class?
As you were saying that, I was definitely thinking of my Zealot Barbarian, for sure. Where it's like, you put out an aura of death when you attack people. Interesting. Yeah. Hope nothing weird happened in your past that caused that. I think this is just such a fun game. There's so many different options that you have to pursue, just so many different stories. And I'm always so interested in like what people's favorite way to interface with that is.
Yeah, like Warlock for me. Like I thought Rogue has a special place in my heart, but a Warlock, it's just the flavor of it all. Like the role-playing flavor, there's so many different things. And then my second favorite would be like a Stars Druid, Circle of the Stars Druid. Love it.
Interesting. Tell me more about that one. Why? What do you like about that one?
It's so cool. Like it's just like you have like how I have a Aarakocra Circle of the Stars Druid named Manway Smoothway, right? And like like you have like their thing like their starry map. I have it on his arm. It's like it's a tattoo. When he uses his powers, it glows, and like, it's just like a constellation of tattoos on him. So I was like, yeah. And then like when he gets to like I think I played him at level 17, like the starry map expands when he opens his wings. It's just a constellation of stars underneath his wings.
That's awesome.
And so I'm just like, there's so much you can do with just like the story map. Can appear. It's a tattoo, right?
Yeah.
It's a constellation, and or just like it's just when you think about a druid and like the stars, like wow, like the sky and the whole thing. Also, I just think it's beautiful, right? I think there's a certain beauty in just dealing with the night sky and celestial things. Yeah, Circle of the Stars is my second favorite class. And then the Warlock, Fathomless Warlock. Like,
yeah,
I'm always gonna play a Warlock if I can.
Yeah, I love the visual component too. I think it's so like obviously most of the time we're sitting around a table, we're talking, but like the way you can visualize it in your mind is always so cool. Yeah,
exactly. Yeah.
Well, Spencer, where can people find you on the internet if they want to see more of your content?
Yeah, you can find me on TikTok, SpenceyDM. Yeah, that's pretty much where you can find me. You can, if you type in Spencer, you can find me on Instagram. That's my personal Instagram. Follow me if you want to, but like it's just But TikTok is SpenceyDM. I post literally every day. You're gonna laugh. Sometimes you're gonna have an engaging discussion, and I just want to hear your thoughts. Like, what's your favorite spell? Or we talk about character bleed. That's how Hannah and I interacted. So, yeah.
Yeah, I agree. Spencer has some really amazing content, great conversations, and I really love the way that you've brought people in underneath your umbrella. It's been really wonderful to both watch and experience firsthand.
Thank you. And again, thank you for having me. This has been fun. I always love talking about D&D, so this has been great.
I love talking about D&D too, and I've really enjoyed our conversation. You, of course, can find The Roll Report at The Roll Report Cast on TikTok, Blue Sky, and elsewhere. And I'm really looking forward to seeing who we get for the next one. Thank you, Spencer, so much for joining us.
Thank you.
All right.
Thank you so much.